What's up, y'all? This is Neena Perez, and this is Straight Talk, No Sugar Added. I love all of you, especially all of you, my podcast listeners who are constantly like DMing me and emailing me and all that kind of great stuff because you love the guests that I have on the show. And you know that I go around this amazing planet of ours finding the best humans I can find to come on here to grow, challenge, and transform your thinking. So I found a Laurie Lewis. Okay, she is a certified coach and she has changed the lives of thousands through her coaching of intermittent fasting. Now, you guys know that we have spoken here in the past of like dieting and stuff like that because it is a life thing. This is what people go through. And so I thought me and Laurie are going to have a really great conversation about what all of this means. She's combined 22 years of personal study of nutrition as a health coach in the Institute of Integrative Nutrition. And she has research and practice intermittent fasting, which is great, Laurie, because so many people have so many different ideas of what that means. So I'm going to love to get into that with you. And she supports her clients and participants, really just helping them have their dreams come true. It's possible to eat the food that you love. That's what they all say. We will see, Miss Laurie, and she live a life feeling strong, vibrant, and lean. And you know what? I really do believe it. I know that I've had a few friends of mine who have done, intermittent fasting. I know that in my life I've done it and it's beneficial. I have autoimmune conditions. And when I go through an episode of where I'm completely like inflamed, I fast and I'll fast, water fast for like sometimes 48 hours. And I feel phenomenal when I'm done with it. So all of that to say, Laurie, I want to know who you are, though. So let's start there. Who is Laurie Lewis? Who are you, woman?
Oh my gosh. I am a person who's energized by energetic people like you, man. And
I have a
and
little bit.
so to being around people who love people, whoo, that's my jam.
I
And
love it.
I am a person who has been lucky, I don't know, enough that in this so I'm 60 years old. And at
Hey, you're looking all
54,
good.
at
What?
54, I was a hurting pup. And
Hmm.
I, like you said, had been studying nutrition since my late 20s just for my own pleasure, but I never wanted to be the food police. And I discovered the solution that made me feel better, way better. And other people asked what I was doing, and I have been fortunate enough that I spend every day, all day talking to people, listening to people, guiding, but mostly listening.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
listening to where people are struggling, suffering. Where's the struggle, stress, or strain? I say, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm going to root in there and we are going to get it out because
Good.
I am committed to people living fully, vibrantly, loving their life, wanting to wake up in the morning and feeling well, physically
Mm-hmm.
well, with good
Mm-hmm.
energy has
Mm-hmm.
got to be the foundation of that. Now, I do know happy people who are going through lives in a lot of pain,
Mm-hmm.
and let's make it better.
Yeah.
Let's make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of what you're saying, I wanted to go touch on some of these things because it's very interesting because you said you spend most of your life, like in your 20s, starting to learn and really dive into nutrition. But in 54, you were a hurting pup, right? So what is it that you found there? Because you know because you've been in the game long enough. So you know there is way too much information, saturated information, a lot of it that's not very good.
Mhm.
So what was your journey there? What was that like? And why did you even start that? Were you not
Oh,
well or were you overweight or what was going on there?
oh my goodness, so many questions. So, in a nutshell, I had a still small voice kind of whisper in my ear, and it said at age 29, I think this Diet Coke might not be good for me.
Right.
And I was like, huh, what's that? And then in that moment, it's very strange. I just decided to be a person. I kind of thought it through like, could I be a person who doesn't drink this type of thing? Oh, yeah, I guess I could. And then I thought, could I be a person who didn't like dessert? I'm like, but I do like dessert. I mean, who
Right.
doesn't? And I'm like, yeah, but I think that might not be that good. So what would it be like to be like, yeah, I don't really like that. And to cut and so I paid very close attention for over 20 years to what foods made me feel well. And so
Mm,
then to speed ahead, I was feeling amazing in my early mid 40s. I started noticing the effects of perimenopause, the
mhm.
transition years. I started noticing that around 44. So it was about 5 years of real, I checked all the boxes of all the ways that you could be suffering through perimenopause. So I couldn't wait for it all to be over. And when I went into menopause, which is you don't have your period for a year, that's not
Right.
very scientific, is it?
Right.
Um,
No,
that
it's
was
true though.
early for me. That was 49. The average is around 51, 52. I suddenly gained 50 pounds. Boom. So
Wow.
imagine everyone in my life was like, wait, you're the healthiest person we know. What happened?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
so I tried all the things that I had in the past, and nothing worked. So what shifted is the hormonal chaos of perimenopause, of a woman going through the transition of
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
saying goodbye to fertility years, which many people are excited about. And
Woohoo!
I know, I was excited too until I went through hell.
Right. Yeah. I'm going through
And
it now, so I get it.
mm,
Yeah.
well, the huge surprise for me was nothing I did would turn it around. I didn't change my food. I didn't change anything. So the only thing that was different was the hormonal, as I
Right.
say, chaos. So we have over 80 hormones, and I didn't understand insulin and cortisol and estrogen and progesterone and oxytocin and all the amazing hormones we have. And what I did learn at age 54, after struggling for so long, was I found out one night about intermittent fasting. Oh, you're going to love this. So I went home to Colorado where I grew up, and my mom said, now I was lugging around 50 excess pounds. My mom said, let's use this time that you're home to turn the weight around.
Oh, fun, mom.
Oh, yeah. Now, I had the most loving mom in the world,
Yeah,
and
I
she
know,
meant
I know.
well, but daughter ears do not hear that well.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I
of
had a
course not.
complete meltdown in her kitchen. And that night, it's truly a miracle. That night I read about intermittent fasting for the first time. And I've been studying nutrition for over 20 years. So how did I
Right.
not ever hear about this? And I started that very same day. It made good sense to me, and I shared it with my mom, and I said, I'm going to like experiment with what is it to have an eating window, and how do you fast? And so what I've learned is there are two parts to every day. And I subscribe to a clean fast, kind of a purist fast. We want fasting to be easy, and we want all the health benefits of it. So I experimented with that, and I experimented with different lengths of eating window. And I was able within 3 days to feel better. That's a miracle.
Mm,
And
mhm.
then gradually, methodically, healthfully shed that excess 50 pounds in about 15
Wow.
months. And so I am a person who just feels amazing having the opportunity to now. I've had an eating window every day for 6.5 years. It changes based on the things that I have going on in my life. And I
Right.
get to help people do the same. And one of the biggest thrills for me is in terms of a transformation of mindsets for people is to just identify and shed diet mindset, because this is not a diet.
Yeah.
This is a
I was gonna ask you
timing.
about that. Mm,
And
mhm,
there's no trying to be good. I mean, it's
mhm,
all about how well can I feel, and
mhm,
having an eating window, fasting and healing in the fasting hours is how our bodies, how human beings have thrived throughout all human history with
mhm.
an absence of food. And I get to help people feel better.
Now tell me about how you felt though when you gained the 50 pounds, right? Because you were
Mm,
pretty healthy. And
was.
when you're pretty healthy, and even when you're not, right? Like I'm overweight myself. So I'm always like thinking of like new ways and better ways of trying to lose weight. I walk 3 miles a day. I try to watch what I'm eating. You're like, oh, but I'm not losing it, even though I'm doing all of that, right? So I am pretty menopausal right now. I haven't
Yes.
had my, menstrual for like 6 months, but then it comes, that
I
bastard,
know,
and
it
it
just
starts the
comes right.
clock over again, bastard.
Oh
But
goodness.
but it seems to be getting harder and harder now. So I
That's
feel
right.
you. I feel you. And I feel you also when you said you gained 50 pounds. I know that was heavy on your psyche. I know it was. So
And
tell me what
memory
those
loss,
moments, yeah, yeah. I was just going to
brain
ask you,
fog.
what were the things? Yeah, yeah.
I was
Go
off
for it.
balance. I had my equilibrium was off. I
Yeah.
couldn't remember if I just asked you a question or if you'd answered it. And I was really, my sleep started being awful. I started feeling more irritable and impatient
Hmm.
with myself and others. And so how I felt was not well. And I want to figure out how to answer your question. Will you say it again?
Yeah, I was just wondering what you were going through, like psychologically, what were you going through with that weight, right? Because
Yes.
it is hard for people who want to lose weight, right? So go for
Yeah.
it. Answer
Okay, so I had
it.
a thought when you were asking me the question, and I sidetracked my own brain. Okay, so we think we have been taught in our society and also by our doctors that if we lose weight, the weight is the problem. And so then we
Mhm,
all
mhm,
set out to lose weight.
mhm.
The excess weight, especially obesity, is a symptom of underlying other underlying issues. Okay.
Right.
So when our doctors send us off to lose weight so that our health markers improve, what they missed was, I love Dr. Ben Bickman, who wrote a book called Why We Get Sick. He explains it really well, that the underlying issues are high circulating insulin and high inflammation. Okay,
Right.
so if
Right.
we try and lose weight the way that we always have, which is eat less and exercise more, that doesn't address the hormonal imbalances, the high
Right.
circulating insulin and the high inflammation. So, what we need to do is discover for ourselves what is a daily fasting sweet spot for each individual. And I can tell everybody how to start really easily and quickly so that you're focusing on feeling better. See, we mostly go into a diet focusing on losing weight. And
Right.
where we have a high tolerance for feeling horribly through that whole diet, right?
Right.
This
Right.
is not that. This
Right.
is I'm prioritizing feeling really well. I'm looking at my health numbers, like I want to bring my triglycerides down, normalize my liver enzymes, let's normalize our blood sugar and our A1C. And so with the effort of feeling well and seeing those results in our numbers, the weight will eventually start to come off. And
Right.
as we age, it gets harder and harder, as you know, and everybody out there is like, yeah, but that's no fair. I used to be able to just, you know,
Yeah. Yep.
cut out sugar for a weekend and I, I lost
Right.
20 pounds. And
Right.
it's not that way anymore. So
Right.
what is
Right.
it? It's hormonal.
Right.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is that there's hope then, right? Because women who are going through menopause and stuff and are really struggling, because this is a real thing, right? Women are really struggling with this.
Yes.
And you're saying that there is a way to turn this around. There is hope here, right? Because one of the things, again, I don't have anything against doctors myself. I see naturopaths,
Yeah.
but I don't have
Oh, I'm
anything
not
against doctors.
anti-doctor. They just
Yeah, me
don't
neither.
know
Me neither.
anything about nutrition.
Right. No, they don't. And they don't. And
That's
they
not
admit
their
that.
job.
I mean, exactly. They admit that. That's
Yeah.
not their thing. But what I don't like is the constant push on pills and stuff to help you with this part. But then, like you said, the nutrition part is still missing.
Correct.
So when you discovered this intermittent fasting, like, because I've always struggled with knowing what's right for me. I've always struggled with that, right? So, like, do I do a 17 window? Do I do 12 windows? Do I do nine? You just don't know. You just don't. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what
We're
you
gonna
know.
work it
I don't
out.
know.
Let's do it right now. Okay. So this is why I love being a coach so much because it's 100% customized. People
Right,
ask me, what's the best eating window? There's no such thing. What's the right thing to eat? There's no such thing. There is
right.
no actual one right diet for all humans. You can even look at the blue
That's
zones,
right.
the
That's
places
right.
on earth where people live to be over 100. All those 5 blue zones, people eat different food. So there's no one right way. So then that leaves people in our society very frustrated. It's like, just tell me the plan and I'll try and do it. Well, you'll only try and do it until you can't take it anymore, right? So that's
Right.
what we do. Is it's short term, it's not sustainable. What is sustainable is discovering what your body needs and wants. And that
Right.
takes tuning in. And the cool
Right.
thing about being an intermittent faster is I call it this isn't a diet, it's a quiet. It gets very quiet and you get to tune in and sort out what your own body needs. And it's nearly impossible to describe until it happens to you because
Right.
it's so experiential. So what you'll do is, it's like, how do I know how long to fast? Okay, start gradually. So everybody out there, and you too, Neena, you can decide what time today am I going to stop eating? And immediately people are like, well, what's the best time? No, you you get to say, when are you finishing your
Right.
dinner? Can you close your eating window? What time? What time do you go to bed? Kind of figure out what time am I going to close my eating window? Like, shoo. And after
Good
that
way to put
eating
it.
window is closed, you drink plain unflavored water and go to bed. Okay, then you're going to sleep. You're going to wake up tomorrow. You're going to drink plain unflavored water, maybe a black coffee. I can hear the screaming people from here. And you're just going to add 12 hours to when you closed it. So, what time sounds
Oh,
like
okay.
a reasonable time for you and your life, Neena, to close your
8,
eating window?
8 p.m.
Hey, perfect. Now, some
Okay.
people like stop eating at 3 or 4. Other people like to stop eating at 11. It's your choice. Okay, so
Sure.
8 p.m. So you're going to add 12 hours, 8 a.m. So
Mhm.
depending on when you wake up, you may have to adjust a little morning routine a bit, but 12 hours. Now, some people are like, well, that's no big deal. Well, 12 hours is hard for someone who is drinking flavored drinks and eating like right up until 1 or 2 a.m. Because
Right.
then you add
Right.
12 hours and that's 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
PM.
Most people are
Right.
like, oh
Right.
boy, that sounds impossible. But what you're going to aim for is a 12-hour, what I call a clean fast. That term was coined by Jen Stevens, who wrote an amazing New York Times bestseller called Fast, Feast, Repeat. And she explains in a big, long chapter why it's important to have a clean fast. But I'll explain it really simply here, which is it makes fasting easier and you get all the health benefits. So you can find anything on the internet that says you can have this while you're fasting and that while you're fasting. And,
Uh-huh.
we try and have permission to bend rules. It's part of being human. But if we want it to be easier and we want all the benefits, we want to have plain unflavored water, plain unflavored black coffee, plain unflavored bitter black or green tea, plain unflavored electrolytes or minerals, and your medication as prescribed by your physician. And so then what you got to get your head around is you get to have all the delicious foods and flavors and nutrients that you love just later in your eating window. So the day has two parts: your clean fasting hours, which are your healing hours, your hours of repair. Your
Right.
body's digging in and burning fat and cleaning out your cells. And then your eating hours are for building, the building hours, the eating hours, which are very pleasurable and enjoyable, hopefully,
Mhm.
and your healing repair hours. And once your body has gone through the adaptation phase or the adjustment phase, which is really 3 to 4 weeks, you're not feeling awful for 3 to 4 weeks. You're actually not feeling awful ever.
Right.
But it's 3 to 4 weeks where your body's like, oh, using up the stored sugar that's on your body and then ultimately tapping into your body fat. And it will do that every day as long as you have discovered you starting with 12 hours, and you'll gradually increase the fasting and eating time frame that seems to be most popular is what they call a 16-8. So a 16
Okay.
hour fast, you're asleep for 7 or 8 hours of that, and an 8 hour eating window. You can have 3 meals in 8 hours. You could have 2 meals and a little snack in 8 hours.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now
So
that
there's not like a like a rule to that either, like how much you should be eating or how little you should be eating in those 8 hours.
your
Got it.
body will start to inform you, which
Okay.
again is shocking. It's like,
That's why
wait,
you said quiet.
I
Right.
that's the quiet. And what
Mhm.
will happen is a phenomenon that was coined by Dr. Bert Herring, appetite correction. is where our hunger and satiety hormones start working correctly. People get worried about, what about your hormones? It's like, is fasting bad for your hormones? No, it's 100% the opposite. It's 180
Wow,
degree the other way. Our
that's good.
hormones actually start working correctly. So our own bodies inform us of when we're actually hungry, not craving ultra processed food, but actual hunger.
Right.
And our own bodies start to inform us of when we've had enough and we could stop eating now. And
Hmm.
then you
Hmm.
wait till the next meal. And then at the end of your eating window, you're like, am I good? Is there anything else I need? And your body will either go, no, I'm good. Close the eating window. Or it'll say, why not a few more bites of this or that? Close the eating window. And you're then fasting clean. You sleep well. You wake up and you keep it simple. There are two
Right.
parts to every day: the clean
And
fasting
that's
hours
every
and the
day.
eating window.
That's
Here's
every day.
why every day. Once you discover your sweet spot, whether that's eating in a 2-hour eating window or a 10-hour eating window, based on your goals, your family life, your fitness, your work, everything, whether when you discover your sweet spot, you are feeling so well, and the health benefits, a quick lowering of inflammation, having a brighter cognition, like having good energy throughout the day. The effects are so positive so quickly that mostly people begin to feel like they can't imagine doing anything else.
Anything
And
else?
so
Oh,
we
okay.
prioritize feeling well. And now I one of the things I hear a lot is people will say, "Oh, I tried intermittent fasting. I never felt better." And I'm like, "Oh, you're not doing it anymore?" They're like, "No, something happened, like a stress in their life or a vacation." And so all my coaching is in the domain of, how do I be a person who takes really good care of myself no matter what is happening in life? No
Right.
matter
I
what
love
is
that.
happening. So it's
Right.
gotta feel so good that of course you're gonna keep doing it.
Right,
And yeah,
right. But I love that too, because you know what, Lori, I think that's one of the things that we don't think about when we go through something bad. You're right. Why aren't we taking care of ourselves even more actually when that stress comes, or the anxiety or whatever people are going through, because people are going through a lot, right? And
we are.
so if we took care of ourselves, that would be the one less thing that we are, taking care of, right?
It's a
That's very interesting. I
mystery.
love the way you
Did
put
you ever
that.
notice
Mhm.
that when life is hard, we take worse care of ourselves? We
Yeah,
treat ourselves very
worse. Yeah,
poorly
yeah,
when life is hard. And that's a understandable, but it's the time to really tighten up your eating window, fast, clean, eat foods that fuel you well, that make you feel well, and you will be able to navigate this hard time much easier when you're getting sufficient sleep and
right.
not responding to cravings for ultra processed food, which actually make us feel worse. Now, in the
Yeah,
top of the episode, you said that I help people eat the foods they love, and that's kind of
yeah.
living the dream.
I was going there, Lori. I want to hear it.
Here's the paradox, if you will. Your body is the boss. Your
Hmm.
body's in the driver's seat. So there's
Hmm.
me, my consciousness, there's me like having a conversation with my body, or my body's having a conversation with me and saying, don't eat that. It
Right,
doesn't make me feel well. I don't like that anymore. I'm not interested in that anymore, because fasting lowers inflammation and creates kind of this clear mental state where you could go into a restaurant where you always eat the same thing, you love it, and you could be an intermittent faster and get in there and your body's like, "Yeah, I don't want that tonight." It's like, "What?
right,
I love that thing." And it's like, "Yeah,
right.
you don't anymore." And I spoke with a guy today who was on a guy's like bachelor weekend, and everybody's partying and eating all the things, and he looked at the menu and all he wanted was like salad and white and fish. And he's like, I never eat salad. I don't even like salad. All my body wanted was salad. And everybody's like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like,
Right.
I'm just listening to my body. I know it's crazy.
I know it's right. That's crazy. Not the part that we would eat things that would hurt us, but the
That's
actual
right.
part where you're listening to your body is the crazy part, which
Exactly.
is
So people are
so
like, what are you
funny.
trying to be good? He's like, and
Yeah,
it's like, no, I'm not trying to be good. I really want to feel well. And
yeah.
something happens in this very natural, not effortful experience, which is, oh, I'm really interested in feeling really well. And there's
Yeah.
something about how natural it is. I know to our brains it seems natural. To our society, fasting sounds unnatural. It sounds like
Mhm.
hard and deprivation. But in reality, since we're designed to be optimized in a fasted state throughout all human history, there's been no food, and then food was scarce, that we feel better when we're in a
Yeah.
fasted state. And that's the goal.
So
That's living the dream right there.
it is. It is living the dream when you feel better. I mean, I left I love my job, but the stress levels were really high, right? So I have autoimmune conditions from all the stress in my
Mm.
life throughout my life, right? Trauma, all that kind of stuff. But you know, fasting I've done, and as you're like, "You've done it, you stopped?" Yes,
Yeah.
because I didn't think I was doing it well, to be honest with you. I don't think I was doing it right. Now I could be days without eating and I could care less, right? And
That's right.
so, and then there's times, like for instance, my friend she came to visit me as a surprise for my birthday, and I don't eat. So, she was downstairs yelling at me like, "Hello, do you feed your guests?" I'm like, "Oh shoot, yeah, I should probably feed you. Sorry." But it's probably
Yep.
not good either. So I never know how to feel about, and I'm sure some people are probably thinking who are listening to us, like, what about your metabolism?
Okay. I
Right?
want to talk
Because
about
you were oh, yeah,
metabolism
because you
and
were
I want to
always
talk about you
yeah,
not eating.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So most people I think are like you. Like we have this sense that we just don't eat very much, right? We eat at the computer, we eat in the car, we kind of grab a energy bar and throw it in our bag. We don't eat a lot of actual meals. So what I
mhm,
want people to do is put food on a plate, a variety of food. It could be a little plate, it could be a bowl, it could be a giant plate, and that in your eating window, you practice eating a variety of nutrients, food you like, food you're looking forward to eating, and you sit down and you eat it. And then you wait in between meals and you wait for hunger to arise again. And you wait,
mhm.
for that, previous generations used to, our moms would be like, no, you can't have a snack. You'll spoil your dinner. Nobody says that
Right,
anymore. You want a snack,
right,
snack all day long.
right,
So what we need to do with fasting is know what your next meal is, know what delicious food you'll be eating that's satisfying to you. And if you're not hungry when it's time to open your eating window, you don't have to eat if you're not hungry, but
right,
just have that food on hand, have it ready so that when hunger does arise, you have an actual meal, a
right,
variety of nutrients that you look at that plate and you go, there's a bunch of stuff on here because
right,
that
right,
food provides a variety of nutrients that we need. So I want you eating actual meals. And then the other thing about metabolism is the body increases or slows the metabolic rate based on the amount of perceived food, right? So,
mhm,
energy, fuel. So the body goes, oh no, there's a famine. You're not feeding me very much. And it slows the metabolic rate way down.
right,
Well, here's the thing about fasting when you're fasting every day, after about 3 to 4 weeks, you become what we call fat adapted, flipping this metabolic switch. Your body now knows how to tap into your fat stores. There's an unlimited supply.
I
Okay. I've
see.
been
Oh,
fasting
I
every
got an
day,
unlimited supply, let me
unlimited
tell you.
supply, right? So I'm at my ideal weight. I have been for years, and I'm about 22, 23% body fat. So, like a quarter of my whole self is fat. I'm never going to run out. Okay. So during the fasting hours, the body's tapping into that fuel. Then, when you eat and you eat well, eat a variety of nutrients, eat a meal to satiety. Satiety is when hunger is gone and your body's like, that's good. I'm not hungry anymore. That's what
Right,
satiety feels like. Then you pause, you eat another meal, and you close your eating window. That combo of the fasting hours when you're burning your own body fat for energy, combined with eating sufficient food, fuel, sends the signals to the body fuel is plentiful. There is no famine, and the metabolic rate cranks up.
yeah, look
So
at
if you're
that.
fasting well, meaning you're fasting clean, you're burning your own body fat, then you're eating well to satiety. it's the best of everything, and the body feels very pleased, very satiated, and the metabolism goes up.
That sounds really interesting. I'm gonna have to even dig into this a little more because, I've heard about fasting, of course. I've done fasting. I do spiritual fasting, things like that.
Beautiful.
But I've
Good.
never done it throughout my life. I've always wanted to, but I've always had like even my naturopath say, just do it once a week, like do it on Wednesdays where you're gonna
Yeah.
fast, and so
Yes.
on. But I've never heard someone do it like you are, which is a daily thing, which is this is your lifestyle, right?
Yes. Now, it's a I love that person's recommendation to fast 1 day a week. And I don't know if they're saying to have one whole day where you just have water or 1 day where you kind of just have dinner and then the
Mhm.
next day eat normally.
Yeah.
Um, the thing about that is there's a lot of healing that would happen during that one fasting day, for sure. But you're never getting into that regular fat burning mode. You're never
Right.
working through the stored sugar, this glycogen in your liver and your muscles, which is what has to happen in order for the body to naturally shift into fat burning.
Right.
And so are there health benefits for fasting and having just water 1 day a week? For sure. Were you very smart where intuitively you're like, "I'm having a flare up and I'm gonna actually just drink water so that my body can dedicate all its energy towards healing?" That was very smart. That can be hard because you're not yet fat adapted, right? So
Right,
the
right,
beauty of being a daily clean faster and having an eating window every day is that it ultimately matches our design. Remember, human beings didn't have 3 meals and a bunch of snacks every
right,
single day throughout their
right,
lives. And some people act like it's a great mystery why we're in a health crisis and an obesity crisis. And there's no mystery. The food is designed to keep
there's
us
no mystery.
addicted. There's no
Yeah,
mystery. We're eating
yeah,
all the time, and the
yeah,
food is designed to keep us addicted. Now, you can, as I said, you may eat as you please, but your own body will start to inform you, it doesn't make me feel good anymore. I want food that
right,
makes me feel good.
right,
And then you'll
right,
gradually see. I do a little backwards from many doctors and health coaches. They say you got to get the food situated, the food in order, and then start fasting and then address your sleep. And I say, no, no, no. Once you get your fasting foundation, your fasting clean and your favorite eating window, then that makes everything else easier. It makes your fitness easier. It makes your food choices easier. You're more mindful of enjoying your food, of drinking more water, of going to bed early. It's like
right.
everything gets better when you focus on establishing that clean fasting foundation. So do the fasting first, and then the food will sort itself out.
So you really do recommend this, fasting window, this clean fasting to all humans?
Well, not pregnant women and not breastfeeding women, because
Yeah,
you're
of course, yeah.
growing a baby and feeding a baby.
Right,
And then, children and teens, adolescents should learn to eat when they're hungry, mostly, and that can change in families, right? So right now, people tend to say, "Do you want a snack?" For example. Well, guess what the answer is to "Do you want a snack?" The answer is yes.
right,
Okay.
right,
So we don't say things like, "Are you hungry?" Or if someone's eaten a meal and you are offering seconds, we don't say, we say, "Do you want seconds?" When the question really is, "Are you still hungry?"
right,
So if we could tune in to actual hunger and treat our little ones to eat and have food available and communicate when they're actually hungry, that would be amazing. And then
right.
we ourselves, like people like, "Oh, I don't really want to talk to my uh, uh, family members or what have you about intermittent fasting. I just kind of want to keep my head down and have an eating window and figure this out myself." And so, guess what? You don't have to make a big announcement that you're an intermittent faster. You just
Right.
say, "Oh my gosh, I would love to have that. I'm not hungry right now. I'm going to save it for later. When I'm
Yeah,
hungry, I'm going to
yeah,
eat that with my lunch. I'm going to eat that with my dinner. I'll save
right,
it in a Ziploc and eat it tomorrow. Thank you."
right,
So we are
right,
accustomed to, when food is in front of us or food is offered to us, to say yes no matter what, and that's understandable. But it's also a really, really fun thing to practice saying, "Thank you. I'm not hungry right now, but I'll have it later."
Yeah.
So
I
try that
I
out.
love your energy. I love your energy. I
Thank
love
you.
what you're bringing to the table, really. I think that you have a enormous amount of wisdom. You could see that you are somebody who is living what you're saying, like walking the talk, and I really appreciate that.
Mm,
And I want to know like what because I'm sure that people are listening right now like, okay, come on, Laurie, give us your info, Laurie, right? Um because your energy is amazing. It's
thank
infectious,
you.
right? So
Thank you.
give us that, Laurie. Like, I know that you're still working with clients. I think we talked a little bit about this in the before we got
Mhm.
on, but you are working with clients and stuff like that. And I think it's something we all need to learn. And I'm gonna actually give you my word that I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna
I love
definitely
it.
try this. Yeah, I'm gonna
I
try it.
love hearing from people.
Not try it. I'm
So
gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. Mhm.
and so when you have the thought, "Wow, my life is crazy," you just wanna think, "When's my eating window today?
Right,
I'm gonna drink
right.
plain water. When am I gonna open my eating window? What am I gonna eat? When am I gonna
Mhm,
close it?" And it can be the same every day because that's helpful for humans when you're creating new
mhm.
habits to do the same thing every day, but you don't
Right,
have to do the same thing every day. You can slide
right.
it around. Okay. So I am so excited that I am hitting my 5th year anniversary for my business, and it's called Fast Forward Wellness.
I
And
love that.
thank you. The way I started was with a group program on Zoom and over the holidays. And all the friends that were telling me they wanted me to have a class, I had to teach them how to use Zoom back in 2018. I was a Zoom pioneer. I had to, tell everybody how to click in and how to unmute yourself. And they were like, "We can't go on a diet, over November and December." I'm like, "It's not a diet. And I'm going to prove to you that you can discover your clean fasting and eating window sweet spot. You can go through the whole holidays from Halloween candy past New Year's bubbly, eating in an eating window and having the festive foods that you love and feeling amazing and arriving in January 2024, never having to diet again in January, never
Right.
having to
Oh, I
diet
love that.
again,
I love the
period."
sound of that.
So that's my holiday program, which will be coming up,
I love it.
starting early November, which I love.
Awesome. Good. No, and it's necessary. See, like, for instance, I'm seeing a doctor right now because I have fatty liver, right? So fatty liver disease. So that's why when you're talking, I'm like, I'm gonna definitely put this into practice in my life because I'm young. I'm 51. And I'm like, and I don't want to have like cirrhosis of the liver by the time I'm 60, 70 years
Nina,
old, you know?
mark
Yeah.
my words, you can turn that around.
Yeah.
Every client I've had with fatty liver disease has turned it around very quickly. Same thing with your A1C, if you're type 2
Yeah.
diabetic. Now, you
Yeah.
could think, well, that's irresponsible of you, Laurie Lewis, telling people. No, I'm telling you the truth.
Right.
You can lower the inflammation, get
Yep.
that fat off your organs, whether or not you lose a pound on the scale, which you probably will, but that's irrelevant. We've got to get that fat out of your liver,
Yes,
and
we
your
do.
body wants it out. Your body
Yeah.
is
Oh, it sure
working every
does.
minute to
Yeah.
save you and keep you alive, and have and so I'm very excited to think about you closing your eating window. That you don't have to delay. You close it today and see
Yeah,
how
yeah.
long you can
I'm gonna
go
do it.
tomorrow.
I can go all day because I don't eat, Lori, so I can
Okay.
go
So
a
I
long
want you to
time,
hear me
right.
in your ear
Yeah,
going, "Eat a meal, Nina, eat a whole
yeah,
meal,
yeah,
and pause up for a few hours, eat another meal, close your eating window." And I
good.
know that you can turn that around
Yeah.
for sure.
See, I
And
never knew about the 4 weeks in. I nobody's ever said that to me. I had no
mm,
idea. So you
mm,
usually give up after, like, a week, right, or 2
that's
weeks,
right.
but I never knew about the 4 weeks, and so
Most people give
I'm
up.
gonna do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Alright, Laura, you inspired me. You inspired
Yay!
me. And I'll probably join you in your holiday thing too, so
That would be so festive. It's on
yeah,
Wednesdays, and, it's gonna be really great. I
amazing.
can't believe it'll be my 6th one. It's
That's
gonna be an
amazing.
honor. Yeah.
You help a lot of
So
people. Okay, so give it to us, Lori. How do they find you? How do they, get obsessed with you? How do they how do they do all of
well,
that? Give us that
I'm
info.
obsessed with everybody else. I'm obsessed with people caring about feeling better, and, so it's fastforwardwellness.com, and you can s sign up for a free checklist if you're like, "Wait, how does she start again? She gave us the instructions." So it's a free
Oh, that's
step-by-step,
awesome. I'm glad you did
and
that. Great.
then, you can get the info on my programs, and I just love sharing with people. I just found out last week, a woman wrote me and she said she heard me on a podcast 2 years ago. Now, I didn't know who this woman was. She's just in listener land. And
Right.
2 years later, she's fasting every day. She's reached all her health and weight goals, and she just wanted
Wow.
me to know. And I mean, that just makes my heart explode with happiness. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the best
Oh,
thing
that's
ever.
so good.
Yeah.
So good. I'm so grateful that you came on tonight. Really. Thank you
Thank
so much
you.
for being here. And thank you for sharing all of that because that's inspired me. It really has. I
That's
appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you,
Thank
Neena.
you. Guys, I told you, best humans on the planet. Laurie's one of them. Make sure that you follow this amazing human being. It's Fast Forward Wellness, so make sure that you follow her. I'm going to link all of her information below anyway. So I mean, I know you're going to be as obsessed as I am, and maybe a lot of you will join me on this holiday thing with her because sometimes we don't know how to act. We need to know how to act. But thank you guys for being here. I love you so freaking much. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure other people listen to this too, because this can help a lot of people. This is Neena Perez. This is Straight Talk, no sugar added. Until next time.